Tani Mahita. Hello, my pooper. Hello, my pooper.
Motherhood doesn't seem to have much status in this culture.
It's outrageous, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Considering it's one of the greatest jobs that any woman can ever do in her life.
So here's supported women at home and in a hospital situation, and for me there's just no comparison, as you know.
Yeah.
You know, having that positive birth experience for these mums,
Yeah.
can you just say a little bit about how that sets them up for their foundation as a mum, you know, as a wife even?
Yeah.
So can you explain just a little bit so they can get the benefit from that? Hello Carlotta, welcome to Pregnancy Preparation.
Okay.
So, can you just give us a little bit about your journey and just help the people at home understand your path and how it's gone?
Yeah. I mean, we started, our journey started sort of preconception really, where I'd been on the pill about 14 years, and I wanted to cleanse my body as such of all the nasties from that. I'd also come from a very sort of corporate and competitive environment, and both my husband and I found working with you very useful in the sense that not only did you help us in terms of realigning our bodies and looking at sort of more traditional osteopathic things, but actually you got us on the right path in terms of detoxing our bodies, and we both did it, and it was really useful actually, and I would highly recommend it to anybody. It made us feel great, and changing our diet, but also nearly more importantly changing our mindset from being both very sort of competitive, stubborn people, and very sort of corporate and task-led who are used to getting our way very quickly, to just being able to relax and enjoy the journey, because every step is there to be enjoyed. They're different now, to, you know, pregnancy and obviously having the baby, but every step is to be enjoyed. Yeah. And actually, you know, worked very quickly, relatively speaking, especially compared to a lot of people these days, which takes, you know, 9 months, a year or more. We've had a very easy pregnancy, apart from now the breech, which I'll tell you about in a second. But what was interesting is that when I first got pregnant, you initially immediately assume you're going to have a baby in a hospital, and then you start. I'm Italian. You start looking at the English system and the way you work here, there were some things that I felt uncomfortable with. It just seemed there was a lot of intervention quite quickly and easily. I just wanted to sort of look into different options. And we spoke about that, and you sort of opened my eyes a bit to, if you like, the more natural way, and believing and trusting that your body can do it, that didn't have to necessarily hand over responsibility, if you like, to anybody in a white suit. So Nick and I, my husband and I, started reading quite a lot about it, I voiced quite early on, the first few months, potentially home birth, which was met rather aggressively with a no from my husband. So that was parked, but then trying to have as natural birth as possible within the medical setting was what we worked on. And then eventually, we are now, with a month to go, and Nick has completely transformed himself after himself reading some of these books.
So now it's 7 months down the road. I'm having a baby in less than 2 months. And I really feel, sort of looking back on my pregnancy so far, I just feel so grateful that I've had the chance and the tools to really come to a place where I'm really excited and looking forward to the birth. And yes, of course, there are still little fears and things that come up, but I have the tools. I don't have to come from my fear and my limitation. I can get underneath and clear those out and really come from my truth and really open to welcoming a baby into my life. It just feels so exciting. So I'm really grateful. Yeah, it's wonderful.
And I'd heard about Craig from a colleague of mine, and actually I didn't go and see him for a year because it all sounded a bit wacky. But I eventually went to see him about 4 years ago with a bad back, and I went to see him, and he told me it had nothing to do with my back or my muscles, it was actually my stomach.
Right.
And so I started to look at being healthy, you know, in a much bigger scale, because before I'd kind of always looked at health as being slim or fit, right, as opposed to actually thinking about what's going on the inside. So yeah, that's where it all began. Really.
Our second one was more exciting. Willow, she was born at home, and we had a massive birthing pool in our front room. So we had about it's just like a mini swimming pool. And at one point, I found that I was really scared by my wife. She turned from this really pregnant, beautiful, glowing mother into this primal creature who was bellowing at one point, "Where's the midwife? Call her!" And I called the midwife. She came about 12 minutes before Willow was actually born. Wow. So we had this time where I was kind of, I'd never felt this, kind of sort of lost, but completely there at the same time. It's a very interesting sort of situation for me, but it was, and what happened, it was just amazing. I could actually, you know, see everything happening and see the crowning of the head. Mm-hmm. I'm sure most guys would probably think it's a bit, they don't want to sort of go there, but I was just so really wanted to be part of the birth, to actually really witness everything and be there and help. And it was, yeah, it blew me away. But really, my wife turning into this
other creature.
Well, not scary, but just truly the essence of a woman needing something other than I could give. Then it was amazing, but at the same time, it really put me in my place.
But actually thinking about how everything functions. So it was a real eye-opener, actually.
Mm. So it's a much bigger picture, and that's quite interesting, because how do they take on that information? Because do you take them on a small journey on steps that Craig's taking you on, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm a doula. I do support, emotional and practical support for pregnant women and their partners. And also I have them after the birth, when the baby's born, at their house. I do either or both.
A major question for you, why are you so passionate about this work with women and helping them understand what they need to do around pregnancy and birth?
Well, the thing is that women almost have lost the plot because they have given their bodies, and it is their bodies, over to medicine.
Right.
And medicine has gladly accepted that and will tell women what to do. Now, that makes no sense to me, because a woman intuitively, if she can just let go of anything, she intuitively would go with the flow and rhythms of her pregnancy and her body. But because she's frightened, because she's been led to believe there is something very frightening about having a baby, and sure, you come into the hospital and you're told your risk scoring, you know, 1 in so many for this, 1 in so many for that.
And her body starts to shut down.
Absolutely.
And then the complications come. So it's almost like creating your own monster.
Very good.
The vast majority of women will be low risk and will be eligible or a good candidate to have a home birth. I think the main limiting factor for home birth rates in the UK is actually fear. That women need to overcome that fear and realise that home birth is a very safe choice for women with no complications.
And then they believe what they've been told, and they want more of what they've been told.
To try and feel safe.
Exactly.
Ironically.
Exactly. And as a result, they then get the intervention and the problems associated with that. And their hormones cannot work effectively, even to get them into labour.
It's opened their eyes a lot as well. A lot of my clients have been to St Craig, and I think that was a real sort of turning point with me understanding how Craig worked. Was that it wasn't just working with me, but it was working with so many of my clients.
Right.